Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about what to do when life breaks you. Because the truth is, at some point, life will break you. The storms will come. The winds will howl. The foundations you thought were unshakable may tremble beneath your feet. Some of you are in that storm right now. You've been knocked down by disappointment, by heartbreak, by betrayal. You've prayed, you've fought, you've struggled, but nothing seems to change. You feel like life has taken a hammer and shattered your dreams into 1,000 pieces. But I want to tell you something today. Being broken is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of something greater. You see, when life breaks you, you have two choices. You can let the pain define you, or you can let it refine you. You can become bitter, or you can become better. You can give up, or you can rise up. History is filled with people who were broken, yet they refused to stay down. They turned their pain into purpose, their trials into triumphs. The greatest stories of victory are never written in comfort. They are forged in the fires of struggle. But how do you rise when life has knocked you to your knees? Too many people try to act like they're not hurting. They smile on the outside but are crushed on the inside. You don't have to pretend everything is fine. A broken heart, a shattered dream, a deep loss, it hurts. But pain is not your enemy. Pain is proof that you're still alive, that you still have a purpose. When life breaks you, it's easy to focus on what's wrong. It's easy to look at the wreckage and wonder how you'll ever rebuild. But if you only look at the problem, you'll never see the solution. Lift your eyes beyond the storm, because beyond every dark cloud, the sun is still shining. Have you ever seen a broken bone heal? It grows back stronger than before. Have you ever seen gold refined in fire? The heat removes the impurities, leaving it purer than ever. In the same way, life's breaking moments are not meant to destroy you, but to strengthen you. When you've been knocked down, the hardest thing to do is take that first step forward. But you must move, even if it's slow, even if it's painful, even if it's one small step at a time. Don't stay in the ashes of what was. Rise into the promise of what can be. The greatest victories are not just for us. They are meant to lift others. When you come through the fire, turn back and help someone else who is still walking through it. Your story, your scars, your struggles, they are not just for you. They are a testimony to someone else that they too can survive. So, my friend, if life has broken you, hear me today. This is not the end. You may be wounded, but you are not defeated. You may be broken, but you are not destroyed. Stand up, wipe your tears, take a deep breath. The sun will rise again, and so will you. Because no matter how deep the valley, no matter how dark the night, there is still hope. And as long as there is breath in your lungs, your story is not over yet. Keep moving, keep believing, and when life breaks you, let it shape you into something even stronger. The best is still ahead. Pain is not your enemy. It's proof that you still have a purpose. Pain is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life. We often see it as something to avoid, something to escape from, something that serves no purpose other than to make us suffer. But what if pain wasn't the enemy? What if pain was actually a sign that you are still alive, that you are still growing, that your story is still unfolding? Pain has a way of waking us up. It shakes us out of complacency and forces us to pay attention. When everything is going well, we can get comfortable, even stagnant. But pain reminds us that we are still in the process of becoming. It tells us that there is still work to do, still lessons to learn, still strength to gain. Pain is not a signal to give up. It is a signal that there is more ahead. Think about the greatest transformations in life. A seed has to break open before it can grow into a mighty tree. A diamond is formed under intense pressure. Gold is purified in fire. Muscles grow stronger only through resistance and strain. In the same way, pain is not here to destroy you. It is here to refine you. It is here to shape you into something greater than you were before. When pain enters your life, the first reaction is often to ask, why me? We want to know why we are facing this difficulty, why life seems unfair, why we have to endure things we never expected. But perhaps the better question is, what is this pain trying to teach me? Because pain is a teacher. It teaches patience when we are forced to wait. It teaches resilience when we are forced to wait. It teaches us to appreciate joy when we have walked through sorrow. Some of the most powerful people in history, the ones who left a lasting impact on the world, were shaped by pain. They didn't avoid it. They didn't let it destroy them. They allowed it to mold them into something stronger. They understood that the struggle was part of their preparation, that the fire was refining them, that the storm was strengthening their roots. Pain also has a way of revealing what truly matters. When everything is going smoothly, it's easy to get distracted by the temporary things of life. We chase after success, approval, comfort, and security. But when pain enters the picture, suddenly our priorities shift. We begin to see with new eyes. We realize that the things we thought were important might not be as valuable as we once believed. Pain strips away the unnecessary and leaves behind what is real. It reminds us of the relationships that truly matter, the dreams that are worth fighting for, the deeper purpose we are meant to fulfill. There is something powerful about realizing that pain is not a punishment. So many people believe that if they are experiencing hardship, it must mean they have done something wrong, that life is against them, or that they are destined for suffering. But pain is not a curse. It is a sign that you are still alive, still capable of feeling, still in motion. It is not a wall blocking your way. It is a bridge to something greater. Pain forces growth. It demands that we dig deeper than we ever have before. It pushes us beyond what we thought we could handle. And in that stretching, we discover strength we never knew we had. We learn that we can endure more than we imagine, that we are more resilient than we believe. We see that we are not as fragile as we once thought. Pain proves that we have something left to give, something left to fight for. One of the greatest lies we can believe is that pain means we are alone, that no one understands, that no one else has felt what we are feeling. But the truth is, pain is a universal experience. Every person, no matter their background, their wealth, their success, will face pain in some form. It connects us. It reminds us that we are not isolated in our struggles. Others have walked this road before us and made it through. Others have faced the same heartbreak, the same disappointments, the same fears, and found a way to keep going. If they could make it, so can you. When we stop seeing pain as the enemy, something incredible happens. We begin to use it instead of running from it. We take the lessons it teaches and apply them to our lives. We let it shape us rather than break us. We refuse to let it define us as victims and instead let it refine us into victors. Pain becomes a tool, not a trap. It becomes the fire that forges our strength rather than the flood that drowns us. Pain does not mean you are finished. It does not mean your best days are behind you. It does not mean you are without purpose. In fact, pain often comes before the greatest breakthroughs. Before the dawn, there is darkness. Before the triumph, there is struggle. Before the healing, there is hurt. If you are in pain today, it is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that something new is being built within you. Pain is proof that you are still in the fight, still on the journey, still moving forward. Look beyond the storm. Dark clouds don't mean the sun has disappeared. There are moments in life when everything seems covered in darkness. You wake up one day and the bright skies you once knew are suddenly overtaken by heavy, looming clouds. The warmth you once felt is replaced by a cold, unsettling wind. The storm begins to rage, and no matter where you turn, all you see is chaos, uncertainty, and fear. It is in these moments that doubt creeps in. You begin to wonder if the sun will ever shine again. You begin to question whether there is still hope beyond the storm. But just because you cannot see the sun does not mean it has disappeared. The clouds may be thick, the rain may be relentless, and the thunder may shake the ground beneath you, but above it all, the sun is still shining. It has not moved, it has not vanished. It is simply hidden for a moment, waiting for the storm to pass. And the storm will pass. When you are caught in the middle of life's storms, it is easy to focus only on what is right in front of you. The uncertainty, the pain, the disappointments, they become all-consuming. You begin to think that this is all there is, that the storm is permanent, that the struggle will never end. But storms are temporary. They may be fierce, they may last longer than you expected, they may leave damage in their wake, but they do not last forever. Even the strongest hurricanes eventually lose their power. Even the darkest nights eventually give way to morning. The problem is that when we are in the middle of the storm, our perspective becomes limited. We only see what is happening in the moment. We only see the wind, the rain, the destruction. We forget that beyond the storm there is still light. Just because we cannot see it with our eyes does not mean it is not there. The sun has not changed its position just because clouds have rolled in. It remains in its place, steady and unshaken. Life is filled with storms, challenges that shake our confidence, trials that test our faith, hardships that push us to our limits. There will be days when everything seems to be falling apart, when nothing makes sense, when hope feels like a distant memory. It is in those moments that we must remember the truth. The storm does not define the sky, and the trial does not define your life. The sun is still there, even when you cannot see it. There are times when the storm is necessary. Rain may seem like an inconvenience, but it nourishes the earth. It allows growth to take place. Without the rain, there would be no harvest. Without the storm, the roots of a tree would never grow deeper. Without the wind, the branches would never gain strength. The very thing that seems to bring destruction is often the thing that brings renewal. The storm is not meant to break you. It is meant to prepare you. When the storm rages, the natural reaction is to panic, to feel overwhelmed, to lose sight of everything except the hardship in front of you. But fear does not calm storms. Worry does not stop the rain from falling. Anxiety does not drive away the thunder. What you need in the middle of the storm is not fear, it is faith. Faith that the storm has an end. Faith that beyond the dark clouds the light still exists. Faith that the winds, no matter how strong, cannot uproot the foundation of who you are. Some of the greatest transformations in life happen during the storm. It is in the moments of struggle that character is formed, that strength is built, that wisdom is gained. Storms force us to grow in ways we never would have if life had always been calm and predictable. They push us beyond our comfort zones, making us more resilient, more courageous, more determined. When you are caught in the storm, you have a choice. You can allow it to consume you, to make you believe that this is all there is, that the darkness is permanent, or you can choose to shift your focus, to look beyond what is happening in the moment, to remind yourself that storms do not last forever. You can choose to trust that no matter how strong the winds may be, they cannot remove the sun from the sky. It is easy to lose sight of the bigger picture when the storm is all you see. But if you were to rise above the clouds, even in the middle of the storm, you would see that the sun is still shining. It has never stopped. It has never been extinguished. It has never ceased to exist. And just as surely as the sun remains above the storm, hope remains in your life, even when you cannot see it. Storms may test you, but they do not define you. Hardships may shake you, but they do not determine your destiny. The presence of dark clouds does not mean the light is gone forever. The rain may fall, the thunder may roar, the wind may howl, but above it all, the sun still shines, waiting for the storm to pass. Brokenness is not the end. It's the beginning of something greater. There are moments in life when everything seems to shatter. A dream falls apart, a relationship crumbles, a deep loss leaves you feeling empty. You stand in the middle of what once was and realize that nothing looks the same. The pieces of your life are scattered around you, and no matter how hard you try, you cannot put them back together the way they were before. It is in these moments that despair creeps in, whispering that this is the end, that there is no way forward, that the brokenness is permanent. But brokenness is not the end. It never has been. It is often the very place where something new begins. There's something about brokenness that forces change. When everything is intact, when everything is predictable, there is little reason to look deeper, to search for something more. But when life is shattered, it forces a choice. You can either sit among the ruins and believe that all hope is gone, or you can begin to rebuild, not into what was, but into something greater than before. The greatest transformations often begin in the aftermath of brokenness. What feels like destruction is often the clearing of the old to make room for something new. A seed must break apart before it can grow. Without breaking, there is no life. A caterpillar must be confined in a cocoon, experiencing what seems like the end before it can emerge as something entirely new. A clay pot, once shattered, can be put back together. But in the hands of a master craftsman, it can be remade into something even stronger, more beautiful, more valuable. In the same way, the moments that break you are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to shape you into something you never thought possible. Brokenness reveals things that wholeness often hides. It exposes the things that were weak, the things that were unstable, the things that were never meant to last. It forces you to look at what truly matters, to see beyond the surface, to examine the foundation on which you were standing. It is only when something is broken that you can truly see its inner structure. And sometimes what is revealed in brokenness is what needed to change all along. There is a misconception that being broken means being useless. that once something is damaged, it no longer holds value. But history proves otherwise. Some of the most valuable things in the world are those that have been through brokenness and restoration. In Japan, there is an art form called kintsugi, where broken pottery is not thrown away, but instead it is repaired with gold. The cracks are not hidden. They are highlighted. The brokenness becomes part of the design, making it even more beautiful than before. The philosophy behind this art is that scars do not diminish worth, they add to it. In the same way, your brokenness does not make you less valuable. It does not take away your purpose. If anything, it adds depth, wisdom, strength, and a beauty that only comes through endurance. Pain has a way of making people believe that they are alone in their suffering, that no one understands, that no one else has been through the same kind of breaking. But brokenness is a universal experience. Every person, no matter how strong, how successful, how put together they may seem, has faced moments when life brought them to their knees. Some of the most inspiring people in history, the ones who changed the world, who overcame impossible odds, who left a lasting impact, were once broken. Their greatness did not come from a life free of hardship. It came from rising after being broken. It came from understanding that brokenness was not the end of their story, but the very thing that gave their story meaning. When you're broken, it is easy to think that you have nothing left to give, that your best days are behind you, that you will never be whole again. But being broken does not mean being finished. It means being in transition. It means that something is shifting, something is changing, something new is being built. The greatest works of art, the most moving songs, the most powerful stories, they often come from a place of deep brokenness. They are born out of pain, out of struggle, out of a journey through the hardest moments of life. Brokenness also has a way of bringing clarity. It strips away the distractions, the illusions, the false securities. It reveals what truly matters. When life breaks you, you begin to see with new eyes. You realize that the things you once held on to so tightly may not have been as important as you thought. You understand that the foundation you were standing on may not have been as solid as it seemed. Brokenness forces a new perspective, one that sees beyond the surface, one that understands what is truly valuable. Some of the strongest people you will ever meet are not the ones who have never been broken, but the ones who have been shattered and still found the strength to rise. They are the ones who took their pain and turned it into purpose. They are the ones who allowed their struggles to make them wiser, kinder, more compassionate. They are the ones who refused to let brokenness be the final chapter of their lives. There is something powerful about realizing that brokenness is not a sign of weakness, but of transformation. It is the moment when the old is stripped away so that something new can take its place. It is the process of being remade, not into what once was, but into something even greater. The journey may not be easy, the pain may be real, the scars may remain, but brokenness is not the end, it is the doorway to something more. Take the next step, even when it feels impossible. Motion leads to healing. There are moments in life when everything feels too heavy to carry. The weight of disappointment, loss, failure, or uncertainty presses down so hard that even the thought of moving forward seems impossible. You feel stuck in a place you never expected to be, unsure of what to do, afraid that nothing will ever change. In those moments, the temptation is to stop altogether, to remain in the place of pain, to let the weight of everything keep you paralyzed. But healing does not come from standing still. Change does not happen by remaining in the same place. No matter how hard it feels, the only way forward is to take the next step. Motion is powerful. It is a declaration that the struggle does not define you, that the pain does not have the final say, that even in your weakest moments you still have the ability to move. It does not have to be a giant leap. It does not have to be a perfect step. It only has to be one small movement forward, a decision to try again, a willingness to keep going, a refusal to let hardship convince you that you are finished. Even when you do not see the destination, even when you do not have all the answers, even when fear tells you that you will fail, movement is the key that unlocks the next part of your story. There is something about taking a step forward that begins to shift things. It does not mean that everything suddenly becomes easy. It does not mean that the pain disappears instantly. But movement changes perspective. When you stay in the same place for too long, the pain becomes your entire world. It surrounds you, defines you, and makes you believe that nothing else exists. But when you take even one step forward, you begin to see beyond the current moment. You begin to remember that there is more to life than what you are feeling right now. You begin to realize that pain is not permanent, that this season will not last forever, that there is something waiting for you on the other side. The hardest part of moving forward is often the first step. Fear whispers that you are not strong enough, that you do not have what it takes, that there is no point in trying. But fear is a liar. Fear magnifies the struggle, making it seem bigger than it really is. It convinces you that you are powerless, when in reality you are stronger than you think. The moment you take a step, no matter how small, fear loses its grip. It does not mean that fear disappears completely, but it does mean that fear no longer controls your actions. Every step forward is proof that fear does not get the final word. Healing is not something that happens all at once. It is a process, a journey, a series of steps taken one after another. There will be days when progress feels invisible. There will be moments when the weight of what you have been through feels overwhelming. But healing does not come from waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from choosing day after day to keep going. It comes from refusing to let the past define your future. It comes from recognizing that movement, no matter how small, is always better than standing still. When life knocks you down, the easiest response is to stay down, to believe that getting up is too difficult, that trying again is pointless. But there is power in getting back up. There is strength in refusing to stay defeated. There is courage in taking a step forward, even when everything in you wants to give up. The people who rise after falling are not the ones who never felt weak. They are not the ones who never doubted, never struggled, never wondered if they could keep going. They are the ones who decided that no matter how hard it was, stopping was not an option. The beauty of movement is that it does not have to be perfect to be effective. You do not need to have every step planned out. You do not need to know exactly where the path will lead. You only need to take the next step. That step might be small. It might be shaky. It might feel insignificant, but it is enough. One step turns into another. One decision to move forward leads to another. And before you know it, you are no longer in the place where you started. Progress is not always obvious in the moment. When you are healing, when you are rebuilding, when you are learning to move forward again, it can feel like nothing is changing. But healing is often happening beneath the surface in ways you cannot yet see. Just like a seed buried in the ground, growth is taking place even when it is not visible. The roots are being established, the foundation is being built, and one day what felt impossible will become the very thing that proves how far you have come. Every person who has overcome hardship has one thing in common. They refused to stay where they were. They took steps forward even when they did not feel ready. They kept moving even when they were unsure of where they were going. They did not wait for everything to be perfect before taking action. They understood that healing is not about finding a shortcut. It is about choosing to keep going even when the road is difficult. The weight you carry today may feel too much to bear. The struggle may seem endless. The pain may feel overwhelming. But standing still will not make it better. Staying in the same place will not bring the healing you need. Movement is the key. One step at a time, one decision at a time, one small act of courage at a time. Even when it feels impossible. Even when fear tells you to stop. Even when doubt tries to convince you that nothing will change, because motion leads to healing, because the next step is always the beginning of something new. You are stronger than you think. Pain does not define you. How you rise from it does. There are moments in life when pain feels overwhelming, when the weight of loss, failure, disappointment, or hardship becomes so heavy that it seems impossible to carry, when everything in you wants to give up, when every step forward feels harder than the last, when it seems like the struggle will never end. In those moments, it is easy to believe that pain is your identity, that suffering is your story, that you will always be defined by the hardest moments of your life. But pain is not who you are. It is something you have walked through, something you have endured, something that has tested you. But it is not your identity. Who you are is revealed in how you rise. Strength is not the absence of struggle. It is not the avoidance of pain. True strength is forged in the fire of adversity. It is built in the moments when everything in you wants to quit, but you choose to keep going. It is found in the decision to rise again, even when you feel like you have nothing left. It is discovered in the resilience that comes from standing back up after being knocked down, from facing hardship head on, from refusing to let pain have the final word. Strength is not about never feeling weak. It is about pushing forward even when you do. The truth is, you are far stronger than you think. There are battles you have fought that you never thought you would survive. There are storms you have endured that should have broken you, but here you are, still standing. There are challenges you have faced that once seemed impossible, and yet you overcame them. You have already proven your strength in ways you may not even recognize. The fact that you are still here, still fighting, still moving forward, is evidence of a strength greater than you realize. Pain has a way of convincing you that you are powerless, that you are too broken to heal, too weak to rise, too damaged to move forward. But pain is not telling you the truth. Pain does not have the ability to define you unless you let it. It is simply part of your journey, not the entirety of it. What defines you is not what you have been through, but how you choose to respond. Some of the strongest people you will ever meet are not those who have never faced hardship, but those who have walked through the fire and emerged stronger. There is something remarkable about human resilience, the ability to endure, to adapt, to overcome, to rebuild. History is filled with stories of people who faced unimaginable suffering and yet refused to be defeated by it. People who turned pain into purpose, who transformed struggle into strength, who refused to let their hardest moments be the end of their story. That same resilience exists within you. You may not see it yet, you may not feel it yet, but it is there, waiting for you to tap into it, waiting for you to rise. Strength is not something you are simply born with. It is something that is developed through challenge. Muscles grow through resistance, and character is built in the same way. The struggles you have faced have been shaping you, teaching you, strengthening you in ways you may not even realize. Every time you chose to get back up, every time you refused to quit, every time you took a step forward despite the weight of everything trying to hold you back, you became stronger. You became wiser. You became more capable of facing the next challenge that life would bring. Pain is a teacher. It reveals things about you that comfort never could. It strips away pretense and illusion, exposing what is real. It shows you what truly matters. It forces you to look deeper, to find strength you never knew you had, to see yourself in a way you never had before. It refines you, shaping you into someone who is not easily shaken, someone who understands the value of perseverance, someone who knows that no matter how difficult life becomes, you have the power to overcome. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when fear whispers that you are not strong enough, that the struggle is too much, that you are not capable of rising. But doubt is not reality. Fear is not truth. They are merely voices that try to hold you back from realizing your full potential. The only way to silence them is to prove them wrong, to keep moving forward, to choose day after day to believe in your own strength, even when you do not feel it. Every hardship you have faced has been shaping you for something greater. Every struggle you have endured has been building a foundation within you. Strength is not about never falling. It is about always getting back up. It is about refusing to let pain define you. It is about understanding that you are more than what has happened to you. You are not just a survivor. You are a fighter. You are not just someone who has endured. You are someone who is becoming. You may not feel strong right now. You may feel tired, overwhelmed, uncertain. But strength is not about how you feel in the moment. It is about the choices you make despite those feelings. It is about choosing to keep going, choosing to rise, choosing to believe that your story is not over. Strength is built one choice at a time, one moment at a time, one step at a time. You are not defined by your pain. You are defined by how you rise. You are defined by the moments when you refuse to let hardship defeat you. You are defined by the strength that comes from standing back up, from pushing forward, from refusing to let anything take away your ability to keep going. There is more inside of you than you realize. More resilience, more courage, more determination. You are stronger than you think. And no matter what you have been through, no matter what you are facing, you have the power to rise.